But let's get more on Spain's election. We turn now to Remi Piet. He's a senior partner at Embellie Advisory. Great to have you on the program, Remi. Spain's Conservatives are quick to the party to celebrate, it looks like. What is the most likely outcome here, do you think?
Well, it's actually a very, very narrow result, and it's very hard to imagine who would actually be in charge of Spain in the coming weeks. The victory from the centre-right party PP is undeniable. It's going to be having a few more seats than the PSOE, but it was really much at the expense of the extreme-right country party, Vox, that actually lost half of its seats. And so what we're having right now is really the two parties and two majorities neck and neck, with the difference being just a series of separatist parties from the Basque country or Catalonia that will be potentially kingmakers in these elections, and it's very unlikely that they actually would see on the side of the right-wing parties that usually are much more in favor of a nationalistic platform, limiting the capacities of regions to have a voice, and they might actually favor the PSOE, giving Sanchez another possibility in the seats.
Yeah, many analysts predict the swing to the right. They thought that this was coming, meaning that Spain could see hardline nationalists in power for the first time since fascist dictator Francisco Franco's death in 1975. So based on what we're looking at now, what do you think governance will look like in Spain for the next 4 years?
What's interesting is maybe take a couple of steps back and just try to understand why there are elections right now. What happened is that Sanchez called elections a little bit earlier than expected following a defeat at local elections in May, and most observers actually believe that the right-wing parties will continue their round of victories and be able therefore to win that election. But in truth, when you look at the results in Spain, Sanchez did a pretty good job economically. Spain is actually having very decent levels of inflation as opposed to, let's say, the UK, for example. The unemployment is not on the rise. There's a series of very key social decisions, especially in terms of increasing the minimum wage that were taken, that actually have been favoring the Spanish economy. And that's where Sanchez made his bet of trying to see if he actually advanced the elections, if he could actually get faster than the actually rise of the right parties and be able to win another term in office. And that looks likely today if indeed we're seeing the Basque parties, separatist parties, and Catalonian parties side with the left-wing parties. It's going to be a very hard moment for Sanchez anyway to govern if he's re-elected, or for the PP if they are taking the majority, because the separatist part of Catalonia and Basque country have very much vested interest and specific interest in terms of their own claim to independence of their different provinces.
Just finally, what do you put this shift down to in terms of we're off the back of a worldwide pandemic, economic hardship, culture wars have played out in a number of European countries now. How have the left and right campaigned their messaging, and how has it divided the country? What are Spaniards really driven by?
Well, you've seen a different, narrative on both sides of the political scene. You have, on the left side, PSOE just making the case for their, structural reforms, for the positive economic results. On the right wings of politics, you have, strong, narratives on immigrations, on arrival of boats from the Mediterranean, especially in the south of the country. And that's why we've seen actually, rise of left-wing parties in Andalusia, for example, a traditional stronghold of the PSOE. And so there's been really two different attempts at setting the agenda on those elections, and at the end of the day, it seems that the population, the electorate, might favor the positive economic result of PSOE, while still engaging and underlying the importance of trying to control immigration in the south of the country.
All right, Remi Piet, senior partner of Embellie Advisory. Thank you.